Hello everyone, welcome back to another video and Happy New Year to all of my lovely viewers. I pray that your year is filled with goodness and contentment. And now that we have finally stepped into 2026, I am planning on starting a new series on YouTube called Reading My Pile of Prospects. So basically, I made a list of books and I shared it on YouTube. In this list, I have about 17 books that I would love to read in 2026. If you haven't watched the video, then I'll leave the link in the description. So today is episode number 1 of the said series, and I am beginning my journey with The Shadow of the Wind by Carlos Ruiz Zafón, and this is translated by Lucia Graves. And all I know about this book is that I'm most definitely going to love this book a lot. I am not entirely certain about the summary of the book because, believe it or not, I never searched it online, but I knew the moment I came to know about this book, I knew I wanted to read this and I know I will love it. And I'm finally getting to read this book, so I'm pretty excited. So I hope that as we move forward in the vlog, I'll be able to share with you what the book is actually about. So there's a story behind this book as to how I acquired this. Just to make it clear, I'm not planning on doing this with every time when I make these videos, but if a book that I own has a story behind it, I'm most definitely going to be sharing it. So this book was actually a gift from a fellow reader. Her name is Anne, and she's such a lovely person. And she gifted me this book last month, but I never read it because I'm a really good friend, apparently. There's this thing about me that I've noticed that whenever someone gifts me a book, I really want to read it immediately so I can show that person that I appreciated the gift a lot and maybe even talk about the book. I'm not doing a really great job in explaining what I'm trying to say, but I recently watched a video by Thomas Howell and he was talking about the same thing. So I'm just going to play that little part from the video. And by the way, I would highly recommend that you check out his channel. I really enjoy his videos. I think they're pretty chill. And the video I watched, I'm going to leave the link in the description as well.
I feel like when you're gifted a book, you're a little more inclined to read it. Or at least it climbs up on your TBR. Or within your plans of reading, it takes priority. Because it was a gift.
I think I should mention this, that I'm not really good with TBRs or lists whenever I make them. So I don't even know if I will be able to read every single book on this list. But, I'm still going to attempt to do it. If I'm unable to finish all the books on this list, then that's completely fine. But yeah, I thought I'll mention this. So I just realized that I never shared with you what the book is actually about. So we're just gonna do that. The story follows an 11-year-old boy. His name is Daniel, and he finds a book one day and he reads that book and he's immediately enchanted by it. The book name is The Shadow of the Wind by Julian Carricks. So when he finishes the book, he's completely enchanted and wants to read every other work by this author. You know, story of a common reader. But there is a mystery surrounding Julian Carricks, and what happens is that he finds out that there are no other works by this author, and a lot of people aren't aware about this author at all. So, there's a mystery, and he also hears this rumor about the author that his works are being stolen or bought by this mysterious stranger. And what that stranger does with those books is that he burns them so nobody can read them. And of course, Daniel is intrigued by it, by this rumor, and he wants to find about Julian Carricks, and then he goes on this quest to do so. This book is fantastic so far, so much so that I was so entranced by the story. I was so caught up with it, I didn't even realize that I passed 100 pages, and I never even told you what the book is about. The story is just, there's something about this story that is really, really intriguing. Just as Daniel is intrigued by this author, by the story, I am intrigued as well by this book. I love books like these, a book that is about a book. It's really fascinating. So I just wanted to share with you a book that I recently acquired. And at first I didn't really wanted to show this to you because this video is simply dedicated to The Shadow of the Wind, but I think I'll show it to you. And this is the book, Stoner by John Williams. I'm quite certain that most people are aware about this one. And this actually is part of the list that I made for 2026, and I'm super excited to read this. But I don't think I'll read this anytime sooner because I'm planning on making a video about it, and I most definitely will not make a video anytime sooner, like a separate dedicated video to this book, like I'm doing with The Shadow of the Wind. So maybe next month, I have no idea, but I'm super excited to get into it. Okay, everybody, I have crossed page number 200. I'm on page number 209 at the moment, and so far the book is really good. I am quite enjoying it. So the part I'm on at the moment is where Daniel, of course, some years have passed, and now Daniel is like 19 or 20 at the moment. And he's on this quest to find more about Julian Carricks, and he meets these different people who knew him, different people who knew about Julian or were friends with him, and he kind of goes to them and hears their story. So it's kind of like that back and forth with different characters about Julian and Julian. Why did I say Julian? Julian. Anyway, so these characters go on with their childhood that they spent with Julian, or the time they spent with Julian, and how fondly they look back on it. And slowly but surely, things are being revealed to us about this author. And another character has been introduced in this story. Her name is Beatrice, and she is the main love interest of Daniel. So we see her in the story, and so far their relationship is a bit difficult because Beatrice is supposed to marry some other guy who's serving at the military. She cannot be with Daniel. So it's kind of like a very conflicting and complicated situation they both are in. But it's interesting so far, and I'm enjoying it. Alright, everyone, I finished reading The Shadow of the Wind, and oh my goodness, this book is fantastic. I had such a great time reading this. I just finished reading this book, and so much is going on in my mind at the moment. And this was such a great book. I don't know what to say. You know, while I was reading the book, when I just started reading the book, I was thinking that, how cool it would be if, every reader out there in the world found a book that they absolutely loved, but the author is completely unknown, and they go on this quest to find about the author, and how cool would that be? And now that I've finished the book, I realized that I don't want to be in Daniel's situation, because Daniel did exactly the same thing. And, the book later on got so dark. It had some really disturbing themes in the book later on. So I would say check out the trigger warnings, but, I wouldn't want to be in Daniel's situation. Even though the year has just begun, I feel like this is one of the best books I've read this year. And I'm just so happy that I finally read this after about like 2 years of wanting to read this book. While I was reading this book, I just realized that I've never read such a story before, even though I've been reading for about like 3 years now. But I still feel like that I have never read a story like this. Because sometimes, some of the themes in the book kind of overlap, but that is how it is. That is bound to happen. But this story, I feel like that I've never read before, and I was just so enchanted by it. But I'm really happy that I finally finished reading this book. I would highly recommend that you check out this book as well if you haven't read this already. And also, please, again, do check out the trigger warnings, because the story does get a bit dark later on, so it's better you do that. And I hope you enjoy this book as much as I did. Anyways, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope to see you in the next one.